was younger, the adhan and the excitement for the iftar that my mum made was pure love at its finest. Used to run down to my plate, but my father had to stop me for a bit just to remind me this enlightenment. He said, remember, this hunger is here to make you stronger. Cause in life sometimes you fall down, but remember, you're more now. You are Shia to your Mawla. So if things weigh on your shoulder, remember what I taught ya. Just say Ya Ali Mawla. One of these nights somebody's prayers gets answers if you call him. What I'll give now to go back to the old days, when I remembered you always and always. Ya Allah, I'm calling and pleading in your name. I swear upon my love for Hussein, I've lost my way, you need to show me. I need your love and your affection. Those sins withdraw down tribulation, sins that hold back my supplication. Bless me with redemption, bless me with redemption. I need your guidance and friendship. I wrong myself, I'm too audacious. I'm forgetful but too gracious. Bless me with redemption, forgive me. Forgive me.
Imam Hussein Charity is giving you the chance to provide food baskets for destitute and impoverished families all over Iraq and Afghanistan. So let's see what your donation gets. Ali. We have oil, tomato paste, we have tahini, lentils, sugar, tea, pasta, tuna cans, salt, dates, rice. She would also be receiving fruit, vegetable and meats, and that comes fresh on the day delivery and only costs £30. Brothers and sisters, you can pay via bank transfer, PayPal, or you can visit www.imamhusseincharity.com.
Your donation can make a world of difference in the life of a hungry child.
إني سميتك فاطمة. I named you Fatima. Fatima means fatum, like weaning.
Inshallah, today we are looking at the topic of the love that we have for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the holy Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam.
Join us in the holy month of Ramadan as we bring to you a brand new season of the 14 pillars, the Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, for everyone.
As we discuss important topics related to the holy month of Mahr Ramadan and link it back to the current society that we live in today. Exclusively here on Imam Hussein TV, your gateway to Karbala.
As lovers of the Ahlul Bayt, we all have an inclination to the epitome of love. When we rejoice, when times are hard, whatever stage of life we are in, we all yearn to be in one special place. We all wish to visit the blessed shrine of Imam Hussein in the holy city of Karbala. Not all of us have the blessing to visit the shrine of Imam Hussein, but there is still a way to experience the sights and sound of the blessed land of Karbala in the comfort of your own homes.
We call upon you, dear viewers, to support us in our financial costs to help bring the holy land of Karbala beaming into your homes. You can support us with a monthly donation of just $50 or £30. We are your gateway to Karbala. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Imam Hussein TV 3.
إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم وفرجنا بهم. عن سيدنا ومولانا أمير المؤمنين the commander of the believers Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, in his final will to his children and to his family members and to all of those who will hear of his will, he states, I advise you to fear Allah and do not go after the world, even though it may run after you. Do not be sorry for anything of the world that you have been denied, and speak for the truth. Act to gain reward from Allah and for the hereafter. Be an enemy of the oppressors and helper of the oppressed. Keep your affairs in order. Maintain good relations amongst yourselves. For I have heard your grandfather sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam saying that improvement of mutual differences is better than general prayers and fasting. And keep Allah in view in the matter of orphans. So do not allow them to starve, and they should not be ruined in your presence. And keep Allah in view in the matter of your neighbors, because they were the subject of the Prophet's advice. He went on advising in their favor till we thought he would allow them a share in inheritance. And keep Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in view in the matter of the Holy Quran. No one should excel you in acting upon it. And keep Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in view in the matter of prayers, because it is the pillar of your religion. Keep Allah in view in the matter of Allah's house. Do not forsake it so long as you live, because if it's abandoned, you won't be spread. You won't be spared. Keep Allah in view in the matter of jihad, for the help of your property, life and tongue in the way of Allah. You should strive for regard for kinship and spend for others. Avoid turning away from one another and severing mutual relations. Do not give up in joining the good and forbidding from evil, lest the wrongdoers will rule over you, and then your prayers will not be answered. صدق مولانا أمير المؤمنين صلوات الله وسلامه عليه. Imam Ali's living will is no doubtly one of the most important pieces of documents in the history of mankind. Why? Because of the numerous narrations that we receive from Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam that speak about how once son of Adam departs this world, then his deeds and his actions will stop. But three things will continue running if he or she leaves them behind. إذا مات ابن آدم انقطع عمله إلا عن ثلاث: عن صدقة جارية. The first thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam that He wants us to continue in these acts, in these good deeds. Why? Because once we leave and depart this life, then these three deeds will continue serving us even when we are not on the face of this earth, even when we leave and depart this life. Sadaqatun jariyah, a continuous running charitable act. For example, one of those charitable acts that will continue rewarding you even in the hereafter is a mosque, is paying for a water well, is building homes for the orphans and the destitute, paying for a business that this business will its rewards and its running will help the lives of those orphans and those who are in need and those who have been poverty stricken, those who do not have anyone to support and sustain them. These are sadaqatun jariyah. The second good act and good deed that will continue rewarding our accounts is ilmun yuntafa'u bih. It's a knowledge that is left behind which is beneficial to mankind. All of those scientists and those doctors and researchers and engineers and scholars who dedicate their lives in education and educating others. They provide the public with their knowledge, with their sciences, with what they have invented, for example. Here, that knowledge that they leave behind, whether it's in lectures, whether it's in sermons, whether it's in publications that they write and they give out to the public, that is ilmun yuntafa'u bih. And the third is waladun salihun yad'u lah. There are individuals who leave and depart this life and they leave behind honorable, respectful sons and daughters that will continue remembering their parents and continue praying for them, supplicating on their behalf. For example, in the holy months of Ramadan, in the holy days in Shahr Ramadan, they give in charity, they give towards the poor, and the poor will pray for them and pray for their parents. That is waladun salihun yad'u lah. Now, when we sit down and remember Amirul Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, our faithful Imam, especially in a night like tonight, where Amirul Mu'mineen, the commander of the believers, the commander of the faithful, in the most in the best states where the Imam was in that state of submission towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where he had submitted to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the best of months, in the best of nights, in the best of locations, in the holy mosque, Masjid al-Kufa, and in the best of acts, praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and in the best of positions, in the position of prostration, in the position of sujood, which is the most loved position that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likes and loves to see his servant in that state, prostrating towards him, praying towards him. Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, he was fatally wounded by a poisoned sword, by a poisoned strike on his head from an assassin by the name of Abdul Rahman ibn Muljim, where he is not Abdul Rahman. By doing this act, he proved that he was Abdul Shaitan. He is the servant of the devil and the shaitan. Why? Because he engaged in a battle against the Imam of his time, the servant of Allah. Amir al-Mu'mineen, in a night like tonight, he is laying there on his deathbed. He knows that his stay in this life is a temporary stay. Maybe hours are only left where he joins Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam and the other prophets and messengers and the successors of these prophets. He joins Fatima al-Zahra, he joins his uncle Hamza and his brothers Ja'far and the rest of the Muslims who left and the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. He leaves behind a will. Many leave behind wills. Many great individuals or many important individuals in the history of mankind, they left behind wills. But who remembers their will today? Who remembers? Who mentions? And what kind of a will did they leave behind for humanity and for mankind to benefit from? But when we come and we study the will of Ali ibn Abi Talib, although it was a will that he left behind amongst his family members for it to be distributed amongst the Muslims from that day onwards, it was 1400 years ago, in the 40th year after the migration of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. But we see until today, 1400 and so years after the martyrdom of Ali ibn Abi Talib, we still benefit from the living will of Ali ibn Abi Talib. For the will of Ali ibn Abi Talib is a will spoken by the Imam who dedicated his life for the sake of humanity. And whoever dedicates their life for the sake of Allah, for the sake of the religion of Allah, and spends their life in total sincerity for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make sure that their remembrance and their mention lives on even when they depart this life. This is a sadaqah jari left behind by Amir al-Mu'mineen. This is ilmun yuntafa'u bihi. This is a knowledge. This is a wisdom that is left behind by Amir al-Mu'mineen for men and women, for the next generations, for human beings to come and to benefit from the living and continuous will of Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. So what did Ali ibn Abi Talib leave behind? Let's ask ourselves, what did he say in his last dying moments? Amir al-Mu'mineen, what were his last wishes to you and me? What was his final will to mankind? And what did our beloved Imam want us and ask us to do? This is a number of the points mentioned in the will of Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayh that I wanted to recap and remind myself, remind my dear brothers and sisters of these important words from Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayh, an Imam that he announced to the whole world in that state of sajdah, in that state of prostration, Fustu wa Rabbil Ka'bah, by Allah, I have attained victory. Now, a person that attains victory, how would he speak to people? He wants his followers, he wants his lovers, he wants the whole of mankind to attain victory as well. The first point and the living will of Ali ibn Abi Talib, which will grant us to attain victory, is that the Imam alayhi salam speaks to his children and says to them, and when he speaks to them, he is speaking through Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam to us. He says, the first point in the will of Ali ibn Abi Talib, I advise you to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أوصيكم بتقوى الله. أوصيكم, I advise you, I call upon you to have piety, to practice piety, to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you practice piety, it means that that's piety, which means that engaging in all the permissible acts and refraining from all unpermissible acts. Basically doing everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks you to do and to engage in, to live life as Allah wants you to live, and to disassociate yourself from every wrongdoing. This is the first request of Ali ibn Abi Talib, not only to his boys and his daughters, his sons and daughters, not only to his companions, not only to his relatives and family members, not only to the Muslims that were living at the time of Imam Ali alayhi salam. This is the advice of Ali ibn Abi Talib to every single man and woman living today. Until the end of time, Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib says to you and me, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because that fear will stop you from falling into the traps of shaitan, into the nets of the devil. And once you fall into the nets of the devil, you can't free yourself. You will be restrained and you will be living the rest of your life into walking into the traps of the shaitan and the devil. Taqwa, piety, fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is one of those central concepts that Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi highlights in Nahjul Balaghah, the peak and the path of eloquence. Imam alayhi salam, in his saying number 403, he says, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is the chief trait of human character. You want to see a good human being? You look at their characteristics. You look at them. Are they an individual that when they speak, once they relate to people, once they live life, once they are outside in the society, are they an individual who is God-fearing or no? He is careful in what he says. He thinks about his actions. He thinks about places that he goes to. He thinks about the food and the drinks that he consumes. He thinks about the knowledge that he is taking in, where he is taking in this knowledge from. Then Imam alayhi salam, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, says about those who have departed from this world, al-amwat, the deceased. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam took his companions to the cemetery, and he said to them, pointing to the graves, he said to his companions, if these individuals who are buried 6 feet under were able to speak to you, the first thing they would say to you, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, وَتَزَوَّدُوا فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى. They will say to you that the best provision of this life to the hereafter is fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The best thing you can equip yourself with is fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Amir al-Mu'mineen in Sermon 196 says that certainly fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now you might be asking me, this fear of Allah, this state of piety that Amir al-Mu'mineen advises me in the first point in his will, he is advising me, what is the benefit of this piety? What is the benefit? Well, how am I going to benefit by being a God-fearing individual? Let's listen to Amir al-Mu'mineen, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. He says, certainly fear of Allah is the medicines of your hearts. This heart that becomes infected with the diseases of this world. What are the diseases? What kind of things makes my heart infected? One of them is hypocrisy and nifaq. When I believe in something inside of me and outside I show something else. When, for example, I like to treat people in a certain manner, but when I see them, I treat them in a different manner. One of the diseases of the heart is jealousy. One of the diseases of the heart is backbiting. These are all diseases that needs treatment. Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi says, certainly fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the medicine to your hearts. Then he continues, alayhi salam. He says, sight for the blindness of your soul. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, fearing Allah and attaining that position of piety in taking care of halal and haram and what is permissible and what is not permissible is like sight to your soul. Your soul sometimes becomes blind, not knowing where it's going, how it's living life. It's confused, it's puzzled. That ruh needs cleansing. That cleansing comes through piety, at-taqwa. Cure for the ailments of your body when you exercise taqwa by knowing what to eat and drink. You choose what is good for you and you leave what is not good for you. halal food, non-halal food. All of that, Amir al-Mu'mineen says, exercising piety is going to be the cure of the ailments of your bodies. And it's going to be a rectifier for the evils of the heart. And Amir al-Mu'mineen, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, continues. That was the first point, which was, he says, I advise you to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second, Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi says, do not go after the world, even though it may run after you. This is the nature of the world. This is how the world tries to show itself to you. وَأَنْ لَا تَبْغَيَ الدُّنْيَا وَإِنْ بَغَتْكُمَا. Dunya, this life, this world, the nature of this world, the behavior of this dunya is as if it's running after you with its pleasures, with its desires. This is the testimony of Ali ibn Abi Talib. This is the will of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, in the final moments on his deathbed, what is he saying to you and me? He's saying to me, my dear brother and sister, my dear son, be careful of this dunya. Be careful that you don't run after this dunya, even if this dunya runs after you. It tries to throw everything at you. It tries to pull you to its trap. وَأَنْ لَا تَبْغَيَ الدُّنْيَا وَإِنْ بَغَتْكُمَا. And then he is the one, Amir al-Mu'mineen, during his life, he gave us many beautiful lessons. And one of those lessons is that he says, Ya dunya, غُرِّ غَيْرِي. Go and run after someone else other than me. O world, get away from me, leave me. I have divorced you by thrice. طَلَّقْتُكِ ثَلَاثًا. Which means that Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi says, I have divorced you 3 times. That means that even if I wanted to come back to you after the 3rd divorce, is haram. And no, there is no return. After the 3rd divorce, is haram for someone to come and remarry. Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi says, and know that there is no return. Your Imam is saying, is advising, O people, O mankind, be careful that this world doesn't deceive you. The nature of this world is the nature of deception. Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi says, مثل الدنيا كمثل الحية. The example of this world is like a serpent. لَيِّنٌ مَسُّهَا. When you strike, when you move your hand on the skin of a snake or a python or a serpent, it's smooth as silk. It's beautiful. It's colorful. It attracts you to it. But it's soft in touch but full of venom. وَالسَّمُّ نَاقِعٌ فِي جَوْفِهَا. The serpent, this dunya, is attractive. When you look at it, it attracts you. You want to run after it. You want to capture it. But once you capture it, it bites you. This dunya bites you and makes you become an ill individual, throws you its poison in your face and in your life. The third, do not be sorry for anything of the world that you have been denied. Again, Amirul Mu'mineen, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, advises you and me. He says, وَلَا تَأْسَفَا عَلَى شَيْءٍ مِّنْهَا زُوِيَ عَنْكُمَا. If you see that one day this dunya is not giving you what it's carrying, it's not in your favor, it's not giving you what you desire and what you interest. Amirul Mu'mineen, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, says, don't be upset, don't be sorry. Because why? Because as human beings, sometimes we rejoice, we are happy, we are pleased when we secure something that is widely available. But we get happy because he says, yes, I got my hands on it first. And sometimes we become upset for something that we didn't gain, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not made for this life. Allah says, O mankind, I have created for you to strive in this life, to always be on the run, looking for the best, to prepare yourself for the hereafter. But there are people that run after raha. They want to be living a life of happiness. They want to be living a life of comfort. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I did not create this life for you to be comfortable in. I have not created comfort life for mankind to come and spend their life. It's as if they are going to be here forever, for eternity. Amirul Mu'mineen, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, says to his family members and through them to us, don't be sorry if this dunya does not give you everything that you need. It denies you some of the things. And then Amirul Mu'mineen, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, moves on to say, وَقُولَا بِالْحَقِّ. Always make sure, brothers and sisters, that when you speak in manners of justice. وَقُولَا بِالْحَقِّ. And speak the truth. Always be on the path of the truth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran says, وَكُونُوا مَعَ الصَّادِقِينَ. And always be with the truthfuls. And who are the truthfuls? When Amirul Mu'mineen, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, says, and he invites us to be on the path of the truthfuls and to be on the path of justice, who are the representatives of truth and justice? It is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam and Ahlul Bayt alayhum salam, where he is described to be as-sadiqul ameen. وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Number 5, Amirul Mu'mineen, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, says, act to gain reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for the hereafter. وَعْمَلَا لِلْأَجْرِ. Which means that always seek to engage in acts that gains the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And once you gain the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you gain the reward that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept for you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran says that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam speaks to the Muslims and says, قُلْ مَا سَأَلْتُكُمْ مِنْ أَجْرٍ فَهُوَ لَكُمْ إِنْ أَجْرِيَ إِلَّا عَلَى اللَّهِ. That everything that I ask for you to engage in is for your own good. The ajr, the reward, is for your own good. But I will receive my reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Amirul Mu'mineen is saying, oh my family members, oh my children, always work and strive for the reward of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala And the reward of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in the hereafter. Again, Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi advises his sons and daughters, be an enemy of the oppressors and helper of the oppressed. وَكُونَا لِلظَّالِمِ خَصْمًا وَلِلْمَظْلُومِ عَوْنًا. Amir al-Mu'mineen does not say, my sons and daughters, anyone you see is an oppressor, if he is not from your clan, not from your tribe, not from your city, don't oppose. Or if he says that, oh my family members, oh Muslims, if you see a person being oppressed, but you see that he is not from your family, he is not from your tribe, he is not from your clan, he is not from your next of kin, he is not from the same country, neglect him. No. Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi gives us a lesson in human rights. In the last moments of his life, Ali ibn Abi Talib sets rules for humanity, and he says, oh people, regardless of who this person is and where they are from and what race they are from, what their background is, if you see this person being oppressed, look after them, help them, support them, be an aid to the oppressed. But once you see someone who is an oppressor, even if he's from your family members, stand against them. Do not help them. Do not support them. Because you say, he is from my family, he is from my clan, he is from my tribe, he speaks the same language, he comes from the same community, he comes from the same country, I need to help him even if he was oppressed. No, Ali ibn Abi Talib says, always seek to implement rule of justice. And then Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi says, keep your affairs in order. Allah, Allah binadhmi amrikum. Amir al-Mu'mineen says that the teachings of Islam are always directing the Muslim towards self-discipline. Allah, Allah binadhmi amrikum. Amir al-Mu'mineen is saying we should have discipline, we should practice discipline in every walks of life. At home, there should be law and order. The father knows his responsibility, the mother knows her responsibility, the children know where to stand. If there was no law and order at home, that home would be a chaos. The father plays his role, the mother plays her role, the children have to be obliged to follow the rules and regulations of the house, so they all are able to live a life of simplicity, a life of sincerity, a life of happiness. Amir al-Mu'mineen, in these wise words, in this will, he is giving us lessons of how to live a life of happiness. Then all humanity, brothers and sisters, they need to come and listen to the points raised in the will of Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. Of course, we weren't able to speak about the points raised. There are 18 or 19 points. We only covered 8 or 9 of them. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us towards the will of Ali ibn Abi Talib and to implement the will of Ali ibn Abi Talib in these moments. In the year 40th to the Hijrah, on the night of the 21st of the holy month of Ramadan, Ali ibn Abi Talib is laying there on his deathbed, his family members sitting around him, Al-Imam al-Hasan, his son Imam Hussein, his daughter Zainab, Kulthum, Abul Fadl al-Abbas, and his brothers al-Baneen and her family members around the bedside of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Narrators narrate that Amir al-Mu'mineen every now and then he used to lose consciousness, he used to faint. كان بأبي وأمي يغشى عليه ساعة بعد ساعة. As a result of the heat and the pain of the poison, Amir al-Mu'mineen at times would open his sight. He would look at Hassan and cry. He would look at Hussein and shed tears. He used to say, Allah, Allah, Khalifati alaykum, astawdi'akum Allah. And then he would say, oh Zainab, I advise you to remain patient. He would place his holy hand on the chest of Zainab. It's as if to say, Ya Zainab, what remains after me is more painful on your heart than what you see me in. Zainab says, oh father, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, who is going to be my protector? Who is going to look after me? Amir al-Mu'mineen takes the hand of Abul Fadl, places the hand of Zainab in the hand of Abbas and says, Ya Abul Fadl, هذه وديعتي عندك. Zainab, do not fear, do not worry. Why? Because you have your brother Abbas to look after you. Zainab was happy that she had someone to look after her, but then that didn't ease the pain and the heat of the tragedy. Why? Because she used to see her father Amir al-Mu'mineen close one hand and open the other. Why? Because the strike of the cursed Ibn Muljam was poisonous, and the poison was spreading around the body of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Suddenly the children of Ali ibn Abi Talib realized that Amir al-Mu'mineen is saying his shahada. He started saying, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna habibi Muhammadun Rasulullah. And then he said, Assalamu alayka ya Rasulallah, Assalamu alayka ya Ammah ya Hamza, Assalamu alaykum ya malaikata Rabbi. And then Amir al-Mu'mineen said, Astawdakum Allah. He closed his eyes. وفاضت روحه الطاهرة. رحم الله من ناداه وعليا وإماما وشهيدا.
أشوفك يا علي تهمل الدمعة، مصابك يعزنا مو سهل وضعه. أشوف أنك يا أبويا تهمل الدمعة، مصابك يعزنا مو سهل وضعه. علي علي يا ابو الحسنين يا ابو النيان، انا بنتك يا ابو الحملات أنا زيانة وبكيت يتامى غيدت إليك تنحب راسك تنظر وبدمك مخضب وبفقدك علينا الحزن يتنصب وبفقدك علينا الحزن يتنصب عيل الصوت إلى ذان يا أبويا والحزن بان وجبريل بقى يصيح وهز هز أرض كوفان وهز هز أرض كوفان تهدم يا حيدر الهدى فقدك عيالك بجتوا نوحت يمك علي علي يا ابو الحسنين يا ابو الحسنين I see the sun delay its ascent out of fear, scared to see Ali's state when on earth it appears, a night that seems much longer than it would appear, begins to weep when a small sentence it would hit. Ali enters the mosque within his eyes a tear. Get up, Muslim, get up, Ibn Muljim, do not delay your prayers, do not delay your prayers. أشوف أنك يا أبويا تهمل الدمعة مصابك يعزنا مو سهل وضعه علي علي يا ابو الحسنين اليتامى تصيح أبونا المرتضى نريده وعالعباس والعباس حضاري وكاس اللبن بيده وانا ادعي منيتك يا علي بعيده وكلنا نصيح عسانا نعايد بعيده ما تسمع يا ابويا يتاماك تناشد بس حدار وما نعرف ترانا غير والد ما تعرف غير والد الولي نفقد حنينه، نشوفه نريد قبل بجبينه، وصي النبي أبو الحسنين. بيت الدعاء سين صدي الهل وصيحة دار بطرف العين، وقالها أول مصيبة عقبي يتشوفين، تنظرين الحسن راسه بحجر حسين، يدني للطشيته ويقذف الكبد نصين، تطلعين وتنادين ريض بنعشة يا حسين، ويا خويا لا تبعد عن قبر ست النساوين، عن قبر ست النساوين. أبو محمد تظل دار خلية، وحسين انفجع بروحة أخيه، غريب والنحيب أبو الحسنين، أبو الحسنين. الأشد وصعب على القلب ظهور عاشور، ساعة ضرينا وحيد ودليل يفوت، ساعة ضرينا عال ترب معفور، تطيل عيني وتداورين خم صر المبتور، تطيل عيني وتداورين خم صر المبتور، وعشر خيول تطلع تطحن الجثة، قبلها ينسلب ردنا ومحبسه، رؤوس شموس يا ابو الحسنين، يا ابو الحسنين، يا ابو الحسنين. افلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد.
Water is the key to life, yet millions have no access to this basic human necessity. Imam Hussein Charity is building water wells in Pakistan. Help the survival of many who can't have this basic human right, those who are at risk of disease and even worse, death. Imam Hussein Charity has a 6-month guarantee of completion of each water well project. Help transform the lives of the believers who live without water. Donate today.
As lovers of the Ahlul Bayt, we all have an inclination to the epitome of love. When we rejoice, when times are hard. Whatever stage of life we are in, we all yearn to be in one special place. We all wish to visit the blessed shrine of Imam Hussein in the holy city of Karbala. Not all of us have the blessing to visit the shrine of Imam Hussein, but there is still a way to experience the sights and sound of the blessed land of Karbala in the comfort of your own homes.
We call upon you, dear viewers, to support us in our financial costs to help bring the holy land of Karbala beaming into your homes. You can support us with a monthly donation of just $50 or £30. We are your gateway to Karbala. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Imam Hussein TV 3.
علي 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 farewell Haydar, farewell oh my father, farewell Haydar, I'm Zainab your daughter. Life has no meaning without you, for you were my joy as I grew. Farewell Haydar, farewell oh my father. Just yesterday I had witnessed you cry and mourn for my mother, and here today with sorrow I say that I shed tears for you, Father. If only I could take back time to the moment of that prayer, as you said Allahu Akbar, whilst praying in the mosque of Kufa. I will place my head near your head as Ibn Muljim yields out his sword and close the wound from where you bled with my hands as you meet your Lord. How could they dare to strike your head, Ali? Have they no fear of Judgment Day, Ali? Your absence has broken my heart. I thought nothing takes us apart. Your absence has broken my heart. I thought nothing takes us apart. Farewell Haydar, farewell oh my father. Farewell Haydar, farewell oh my father. Farewell Haydar, I'm Zainab your daughter. Life has no meaning without you, you were my joy as I grew. Farewell Haydar, farewell oh my father. The orphans ask from dawn till dusk, where has Haydar Ali gone? They all cry out with broken hearts, when will Haydar Ali come? And like them I cry out, Father, along with Hassan and Hussein, who will extinguish our fire, our lives filled with so much pain. The pain of your wound and poison, and the absence of your embrace. They call me Zainab the orphan. Ya Ali, all of this I face. How could they kill God's best of creation? They waited until you